let's open up for questions in general. We have somebody running here with a microphone, so. Yeah, so when you ask a question, please stand up. So.
Hi, I'm Jackie Roach. I'm with Taysha Blue Rescue. I'm curious. I love Maddie's pet assistant, but I wondered what maybe AI technologies might be doing. Every time I use OK Google or I use Alexa, I keep thinking, how can we bring that AI technology to animal rescue and helping people with problems with their pets?
So Sheila and I worked together on Maddie's Pet Assistant originally, and one of the things we wanted to get out of it was to collect all the information that comes up through people answering the surveys that are there. So in turn, that turned into a Maddie's Pet Forum. So the two of them are connected, and what we want to do with that is we really want to make sure that any discussion that comes up. So if you pose a question in Maddie's Pet Forum and somebody answers it, that we preserve those answers and it becomes searchable. So we do have that built into Maddie's Pet Forum, and we're using machine learning to make sure that we actually extract the best information. It's based on upvoting, downvoting, saying these are the best answers and so on, but also what are the things that people really care about? What are the big things that come up, and how do you do that? It has been suggested that we should use the voice activated as well. We may get there. It's certainly technology that's available in what we are using right now, but we're not quite there yet. Do you want to?
Yeah, and it is on. You can hear me. Just in regard with Maddie's Pet Assistant, one of the features that I felt was lacking was the ability, so it had the surveys, but if I'm a foster caregiver and I have a problem now and a survey isn't available, I could email the organization through the survey, but you might not be able to respond right away. So that's one of the ideas behind Maddie's Pet Forum, is that our foster caregivers can go to the forum and ask the question there, and hopefully there's lots of other people online. And as Lars says, we're building this great knowledge base there. We'll have lots of solutions to problems. So probably not quite as techy as things like Alexa, but we're working towards it.
Since AI came up, just to entice, and we're talking about technology for a second, there's new technologies out there, and Adopt a Pet, and with the help of Maddie's Fund, is looking for ways to make them come to life. So you mentioned AI, that's artificial intelligence. So that's when algorithms can learn things about what people are saying or what people are doing, and then start to provide the right information. And also Lars mentioned machine learning. That's another tool that just means seeing people repeating tasks and then knowing what they're going to do and sort of doing it for them. So adoptapet.com is experimenting with artificial intelligence and machine learning. For example, we know that a lot of times when people are on our site and they are clicking our button to send an email to a shelter to inquire about a pet, they're actually asking something that is present on the page. They're just not seeing it, and that's wasting the time, and it's very annoying to shelters and rescues. Do you know what I'm talking about? So we are well aware of this. So first of all, we actually just built a system that is similar to Craigslist, not the bad part of Craigslist, where when someone emails a shelter or rescue directly from our site, it's actually the reply to address is this weird thing that comes back to us and then goes to that person. And then when the person replies to shelter, it comes back to us and goes back. So we can see who is replying, who is not replying, what information is in there, and we can start to learn, oh, when someone asks this kind of a question, they don't get a reply, or look, this person is asking a question that we already had the information, and we can interrupt that, and we can have something that pops up and says, it's like, remember Clippy? It's like it looks like you're asking right, not the bad part. It looks like you're asking about an adoption process. Here is the answer to your question. Like, we would know the answer to that question. So we're experimenting with ways to do that, so you don't have to spend the time dealing with that kind of stuff if the information is there. And some of that may be us getting more information from you, like what's the cost for this pet or things like that, the adoption fee, so we can present that. So there's machine learning that can happen there that we're experimenting with. There's certainly understanding people's usage of the website and trying to show them the right pets. So it's not just a matter, for example, of where we are showing your animals to adopters. We would like to show the right animals to the right adopters that they can actively adopt. So if, for example, you're an organization that does home checks and you're not going to adopt someone who doesn't have a fenced yard, then really a person, if they tell us they don't have a fenced yard, should not be seeing your pets because they're just going to waste your time. And frankly, you're just going to waste their time. So we're looking for ways to use technology to do that. The other technology I wanted to talk about is you've heard of AR and VR, right? AR is augmented reality and VR is virtual reality. So just so you know, because this is going to be taking over our world pretty soon, augmented reality is when you look at a real space through your phone or maybe through your glasses, like Google Glasses, and some information about the thing you're looking at is put in your visual field. So you can be looking down the street with Google Glasses or with your phone, and information about that business would pop up, or information about a discount on that business would pop up, or things. That's augmented reality. Virtual reality is when you actually put on the whole headset and you're suddenly, out in outer space. And there's some interesting work being done with virtual reality to get someone the feeling of being with an animal or developing empathy for animals, something like that. But with augmented reality, that's here right now and very useful. IKEA has this really great app where you can look at your phone at your living room and you can see a couch and you can walk around and look at the couch and it's superimposing it there. So we've been playing around a little bit with what about if it's a dog in your living room? And we actually have done this. It's just cute at this point. I'm not sure it's going to be world-changing, but we have the ability to take not an actual live pet, but or a video of a live pet, but of a fairly realistic, cartoony kind of pet, and say, what does this animal look like in your house? So we're experimenting. Would that cause someone to adopt? Would someone want to know what size animal? Could we give, different types of animals? So, or for example, augmented reality, if you have a physical shelter, that could allow someone to walk through the shelter and just use their phone, and instead of kennel cards, they could get tons of information by just pointing their phone to looking at the kennel. So there's all kinds of technologies that are on there, and we're going to try to make sure that they serve you and that they serve the animal welfare world. So we're on it, and it's interesting.
Other questions?
I want to return to the rabble-rousing question about IT support, because everything you're talking about is either maintaining something that exists, keeping up with updates, evaluating new technologies, etc. What's the actual right skill set for IT support in a resource-constrained shelter headcount?
Most enterprise software now, the type of software you would run inside an organization like yours, looks and works a lot more like the kinds of things that you use in your personal life. Which is to say, they are simple, they are free to get started with, they're really easy to use, they don't need a lot of training, installation, the sort of associated services that people think of when you thought of an IT installation from, call it 10 or 20 years ago. What we see a lot of is just a younger person. A younger person will show up in a younger person will show up in an organization and say, "This doesn't really make sense to me. Why don't we just use X?" And I would, especially when you're talking about resource-constrained situations, I would look to, and we're talking younger than any of us, but I would look to those kinds of people because the software and digital products are second nature to them in a way that they aren't to us. And so I think that's actually your best resource. And it's a free resource. You probably have volunteers, right, who are from this demographic. They may have grown up with the phone in their hand. They just think about the world a little bit differently than we do.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that as well. I mean, too often we don't think of volunteers as being the expert in areas like IT, and I think that is a great resource. There are lots of people who would like to volunteer their ability and to do this in time so. Other questions? Yep, right here.
Thank you. For Adopt a Pet, you made a comment in the beginning about being able to list fosters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I use rescue groups to filter through everything, through Adopt a Pet, Pet Finder, my own website. I never clicked that foster button on rescue groups because I didn't think it filtered to anyone. If I click that, will it show on Adopt a Pet that kitten can be fostered?
Not yet.
Not yet.
For the moment, for the shelters during this test who manually upload their pets to Adopt a Pet, where it's not coming in through rescue groups or Pet Point or ShelterLuv, they can mark a pet as not only adoptable but fosterable. And if this test proves out to be useful, which is what we think it will, then we will go to the shelter softwares and go to Richard at rescue groups and say, hey, collect this information, and if you're already collecting it, send it to us so you don't have to come onto our site to do it. And then the next step would be, hey, send us your actually not yet adoptable but fosterable pets. So we're getting there. Okay. So if your pets are getting onto our site from rescue groups, you can come and log in if you know your password to log into our website, and then after the fact, check it if you want to be part of this.
Okay. Is there any benefit of me using just your site to update Adopt a Pet over rescue groups right now, besides the foster? Or is it okay to use the rescue groups to do everything all at once? I do it for time saving because I can do everything at once.
Well, is that how you're also getting your pets onto Pet Finder?
Yeah.
So if you stopped using rescue groups, you'd have to upload your pets to Adopt a Pet and then separately upload them to Pet Finder?
Oh, well, no, I'm still going to use rescue groups because it filters my whole website as well. But can I do anything else on your site opposed to doing it on rescue groups?
So if you load your pets directly onto adoptapet.com, you have access to other features that you can be using in there. Like we have a whole volunteer database and we've got reports. It might be worth logging in and having a look around.
Playing around, okay.
That doesn't mean, though, that you have to upload your pets directly to us. You can send them to rescue. We don't care. We just want to help you get your pets adopted in the easiest way possible.
Thank you.